We crave a faith that acts as armor. We want to believe that if our intellect is sharp enough and our willpower strong enough, we won't break when a crisis hits. During the Last Supper, Jesus washes the feet of his disciples. In response, they look at him and declare they finally understand. They know exactly who he is, and their belief is absolute. Jesus looks back at them and punctures that certainty instantly. He tells them the hour is coming and has already arrived when they will all scatter to their own homes and abandon him. The disciples confuse their intellectual understanding with actual resilience. Human willpower shatters the moment real pressure is applied. We do the exact same thing. We hold tightly to our certainties right up until sudden, brutal suffering knocks the wind out of us. In 1984, the South Korean poet Park Nam-chol wrote a piece called Lord's Prayer, Damn It. It is a raw, jagged response to a deeply dark era. Instead of a polite petition, he writes, "Give us this day our daily suffering." He asks God if he will simply leave us alone to freeze. He challenges the reader to repeat the phrase, "I believe," 70 times, daring you to feel how hollow the words become when you are exhausted and furious. When the armor of our own willpower cracks, we land in exactly that emotional space. We feel utterly isolated, entirely abandoned, and completely defeated by the reality in front of us. Jesus stepped directly into this exact kind of isolation during his final days in Jerusalem. He experienced the absolute extreme of human loneliness. His progressive isolation culminated in the Garden of Gethsemane. On the night he needed them most, his closest friends couldn't even stay awake for him. The physical path leads to the cross, where it ends with a scream of total abandonment. My God, why have you forsaken me?" To the crowd watching, that cry is the sound of total defeat. It sounds like a broken man realizing no one is coming to save him. Yet Jesus is actively absorbing the weight of every human rejection. He experienced the absolute scale of that loneliness so that we would never have to face it. There is a historical layer to that cry on the cross. My God, why have you forsaken me?" is a direct, word-for-word quote. It is the first line of Psalm 22. In the ancient world, quoting the first line of a known text automatically invokes the entire piece. Psalm 22 begins in utter despair, but it hits a hard pivot point, arcing directly upward from the darkness into a fierce declaration of God's deliverance. By reciting that specific psalm as he was suffocating, Jesus creates a deliberate paradox. Deep within the most profound physical and spiritual darkness imaginable, he audibly declares an unbroken union with the Father. Jesus used the cross as a mechanism to declare absolute victory from the center of absolute suffering. This reframes a statement Jesus made to his disciples right before he was arrested. I have overcome the world. He said this before the trial, before the cross. The victory was already secured. Look at the aftermath in the life of Peter. He was certain he would never deny Jesus. That arrogant, self-reliant courage was violently crushed. But Jesus met Peter after the failure and restored him with grace. Peter returned to a hostile world driven by love rather than his own brittle willpower. Victory over the world is the process of being reshaped by Christ's grace as we walk through failure and pain. If Christ has already secured the victory, the way we define our own daily courage has to change. We often picture courage as a dramatic stand, but real courage is the quiet defiance of simply existing in a difficult world, waking up to a blaring alarm, surviving a claustrophobic commute, and staring down another pile of rejected job applications. It is the mundane act of sending a kind text to a friend when you are completely emotionally drained. It is forcing out a whisper of gratitude at the end of a bitter, exhausting day. You do not have to conjure this strength out of thin air. You rest on a victory that is already finished. You can face the crushing weight of ordinary life with profound peace, because the victory is done, and you are never walking through the dark alone.